There have been frequent suggestions that aircraft carriers are inherently vulnerable and have been rendered obsolete by a new generation of weaponry. Here we look the range of conventional threats the carriers might face in a high-end conflict and how the RN and the Queen Elizabeth class are configured to deal with them. The Russians have called the QEC large and convenient targets. A cute soundbite that is frequently rehearsed in various forms across the media and helps create the illusion that they are just passive floating airfields, lacking their own offensive power or the ability to defend themselves. Some forget that a prime purpose of the carrier battle group is to go on the offensive and strike in a proactive way, and if necessary to eliminate what may threaten them before it may mount an attack. That said, it would be complacent to think that any aircraft carrier is invulnerable. Recent developments in stealth aircraft, hypersonic and ballistic anti-ship missiles, and ultra-quiet submarines are a threat to all surface combatants. Even the mighty U.S. Navy is stretched to cope in this environment. So how much more is the threadbare RN at risk? On the day HMS Queen Elizabeth arrived in Portsmouth for the first time, we met Commodore Andrew Benton, commander of the UK Carrier Strike Group, and asked him if he considers the RN can offer the ship adequate protection, particularly if faced with high-level threats. He replied, "The Maritime Task Group operates with layers of force protection, some of which is delivered by ships and aircraft. We also have satellite surveillance to support our understanding of what's around us. We can bring in extra layers of protection when needed." Every deployment of the carrier AMP structure of task group around will be based on an intelligence assessment of the threat likely to be faced and the operational tasking. These layers of protection and defensive measures the UK is able to provide the QEC are worth closer examination. The very outer defense of the Carrier Strike Group, CSG, is really about situational awareness. This intelligence can be provided by aircraft such as the P-8A Poseidon, satellite imagery, undersea acoustic sensors, and even basic human intel could all contribute to this accumulation of knowledge. Depending on the circumstances and the ability to collect this data, this kind of information may be plentiful at times or almost non-existent on other occasions. History has proven, for example, that land-based aircraft, even if dedicated to the task, are almost incapable of sustaining round-the-clock protection or intelligence to naval vessels. It is always extremely challenging to secure and maintain real-time data on distant threats. This works both ways. To attack the CSG from distance, the enemy also needs accurate location data on ships that may cover more than 400 nautical miles (NM) in 24 hours.